Are you one of the 67% of all adults who's unhappy at work? If so, I've got news for you. The problem probably is not your boss, it's probably not the hours you have to work, and it's probably not even what you get paid for doing it. I'm Marisa Murgatroyd, and I've helped tens of thousands of people identify their ideal business and succeed in it. And I've got to tell you, the major reason why you're probably unhappy at work is because you're a closet entrepreneur. So what's a closet entrepreneur? It's someone who knows deep down inside that they're meant to be their own boss. It's someone who knows there's something way bigger and way more important to the world that you should be doing rather than working a 9-to-5, helping to build someone else's dream. It's someone who knows that they'll never find a job that makes them truly feel fulfilled, happy, and alive because it's working for somebody else that's the problem. It's the person who craves the freedom of knowing at the end of the day that you were the one who chose what work you did, along with when and where you did it. And it's the person who yearns to have the excitement of unlimited potential stretching out before you. You want to control your own destiny and have the freedom you'll need to grow, to serve, to contribute to the world, and to build your ideal future for your family. Now, if this resonates even a little bit, then that person is you. And just like Clark Kent, before he became Superman, you already know there's something wrong, or at least not 100% right, with what you're doing right now. But once you come out of the entrepreneurial closet, or in Clark Kent's case, the phone booth, your personal superpowers will ignite, giving you power and results that you never before thought possible. I've got to tell you, I think it's time. A wise man named Tony Gaskins Jr. once said, if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help build theirs. And I think that it's time for you to come out of the closet and admit to yourself that you will never be truly happy and fulfilled working for someone else while your dream lies inside of you, waiting for its moment. Isn't it time for you to stand up and say, yes, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm proud of it? So what's holding you back? My guess is it's fear. Fear of the risk, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and its consequences. I want you to know that the fear you may be feeling is normal and it's okay. In fact, I'd be worried about you if you weren't feeling at least some fear. After all, this is a big step. It's not to be taken lightly. But you can't let the fear shut you down or hold you back or freeze you like a deer in the headlights, because that kind of fear, it's deadly. Not to your body, but to your hopes, your dreams, and your opportunities. So the key to dealing with any fear, it's really to look beneath the emotion and ask yourself, why am I really afraid? After working with thousands of people just like you around the world over the past years, my guess is that it's because you lack the clarity on what that business or side business should look like. So I see people who desperately want to quit their day jobs and start a business, but are struggling to find or choose an idea that'll be profitable while also fulfilling their passions. And I see people who already have businesses struggle to gain momentum because they've chosen a business model or a market that isn't a good fit for their unique interests, skills, and talents. Despite what you may have heard, the fact is that it's almost impossible to build a successful and fulfilling business just doing what you love. Doing what you love is definitely a part of it, but what most people don't know is it's only a small part of it, only 25% in fact. And the other 75% of the success of your business idea, well, it comes down to 3 other critical areas that I'll be covering in this free training series. Areas that most people forget about. And that's what this series is all about. Over the next few days, I'm going to give you the tools you need to identify and get clarity on your ideal business idea. Because I believe that deep down inside you, there are some pretty amazing superpowers that can help a lot of people and change your life in some fundamental ways. But right now, you might be feeling a little like Clark Kent, overlooked by everyone around you and not yet feeling ready. That's why I put this free training series together, to help you glimpse your superpower peeking out from the phone booth and to start taking those actions that will make it yours forever. This series of videos will be your phone booth. You're gonna emerge out the other side in a new outfit and ready to go. So how do you find the right business idea? The one that you're passionate about, that will make money, be fulfilling, and come naturally to you as well? Well, I can tell you from experience, if you try to do it on your own, it's incredibly tough to get the perspective that you need, which can make the process time-consuming, expensive, and difficult. I know, I've done it, and it wasn't pretty. So starting my own business and becoming an entrepreneur, it wasn't even on my radar. I'd always considered myself an artist, and I had a job at a production company in Los Angeles, writing and directing documentary films. So on the surface, it seemed like a dream job. Not a lot of people get a regular paycheck making documentary films like I was. But I soon learned that this job, it came with a huge frustration. Documentaries usually take about 3 years to make, and they're seen by less than 1,000 people. So I was starting to feel like I was wasting my life creating something that very few people would ever see. And even though the documentaries I wanted to make had the potential to change the world, I felt the possibility that they actually would felt close to zero. Plus, it was hard to save money to do the things that I wanted to do. I was making $1,000 a week, and if I didn't work, I didn't get paid. So there I was working 50 to 60 hours a week, making less than $50,000 a year, and living in this unsafe, low-rent part of LA because that was all I could afford. Then one day, I was invited to photograph my friend Max's live event. Now, Max was doing these intimate weekend business events in downtown LA, and I'd never seen anything like it. Dozens of people coming together who'd either started their own business or who wanted to start a business. I had never met people so full of hopes and dreams, willing to step out of the box and do their own thing. These people excited me, and I captured gorgeous moments. I captured the excitement of a new idea, a moment of clarity, a moment of connection. I started to see just how transformative business could be. It wasn't just all about the bottom line like I thought it was. Because back when I was a kid, my brother, Michael, he was the entrepreneurial one in the family. He had a paper route, he sold candy at school, and we used to have these block-wide garage sales where our whole neighborhood decided to put on a garage sale at the same time. And Michael, he'd get up early, buy all the best things from each neighbor, then set up his own booth and mark up the prices. So in hindsight, this was a brilliant business strategy, but at the time, something just didn't feel right about it to me. And I somehow associated business with this selfish desire to make money. And I didn't really realize it could be an expression of who you really were, your gifts and your background and your interests. I didn't realize that you could use business to make a difference. And I saw that passion at Max's event. Then at the end of the weekend, Max would offer his year-long mentorship program for $10,000. And out of a room of 60 people, 15 to 20 of them would buy. And I thought they were absolutely crazy to spend that kind of money on business training. After all, business was supposed to be something that made you money, not cost you all that money. And then I was invited to photograph the celebration lunch with all his new students. And during this lunch, they had an opportunity to connect and share stories about what they wanted to build. And I really felt their inspiration. I could feel that this meant something more to them. So I continued to photograph events for Max for another year. And I watched this group of students transform before my eyes as they did what few people ever do. They took their ideas and they built something. And before you knew it, they had businesses, they were making money, and more importantly, they were doing what they wanted to do. And Max would bring them on stage at his live events to share their stories, and I'd photograph them telling their stories. And gradually I began to wonder if this is something that I could do too. And after photographing his events for over a year, I was in the same place as I was when I started. But his students, they'd gone from where I was to becoming entrepreneurs with thriving businesses. They were living their dreams, and I wasn't. So while photographing his 5th event, after hearing and passing up Max's offer 4 other times, I finally decided to join his program. And by that time, the investment had actually gone up from $10,000 to $25,000. Waiting a year cost me $15,000. But I was certain that I needed to do it. Because starting my own business, it wasn't even on my radar until it was. 5 events in, I knew that I wanted to start my own business. There was just one problem. I didn't really know what that business was gonna be. I knew I wanted to help people, but I had no idea what people would actually pay me for. So I racked my brains, and all I could think of was that I know how to make things look good and sound good and tell a good story. But who was gonna pay me for that? And as an artist, I never dreamed that those things that came so easily to me had value. After all, I wasn't making a lot of money or having the impact that I wanted doing those things. I had no idea the very skills that I had taken for granted actually formed the basis of business and marketing at its best, and would ultimately form the foundation of an incredibly successful business. So Max was able to point me in the right direction, and he helped me create this list of like 10 to 20 possible businesses that I could do. And after a little bit of thinking, I picked one of them. Now, I wish I could say that everything worked out and I lived happily ever after, but the real truth is that the idea that I chose, it didn't really make me happy. It was something that I could do and something I could make money with, but it wasn't something that I loved to do or something that really had the impact that I desired. And because of that, I struggled. I wasn't having fun, and it felt like there was a ceiling on my growth. So I struggled so much that when a friend of mine told me about a job in my old industry that matched my skills, interest, and my experience, I didn't need much convincing to take it. It was decent money, it was security, and most of all, it was this room to breathe, to take stock and figure some things out. And almost every single friend or family member that I asked, they told me, take it, Marisa. So I decided to put my business on the back burner and to go back to something that felt easier. And deep down, I knew that I was making a mistake. And after about a month or so, I was really miserable because I'd already felt this potential of having my own business. And there was a part of me that knew that I'd never again be happy working for someone else. In fact, hating my job, it actually gave me the motivation that I needed to figure out how to make my business work. So I set about doing just that. And first of all, I realized that my family, my friends, my coach, those people who told me to take the safe option, they all really wanted the best for me. But the problem was that that version of my life and business, it didn't really feel like me. And that's when I started to look back on my life for other moments when I decided to not trust my inner truth. And that was the moment that I realized that I'd been looking outside of myself for all the answers. Answers about what to do, how to make money, even how to be happy. And by looking outside of myself for the answers, there was no place for my intuition, my gifts, my values, my talents, or my personality to play a part. And thinking back to my school and my university days, I could see that all my training and all my education had left me out of the equation. I had an Ivy League degree and a master's from the Royal College of Art, and yet none of that had given me the wisdom and the insight that I now know that lived inside of me, waiting to be expressed. And over the span of 2 years, I had also invested over $50,000 in trainings and books and tools and assessments, activities, all these things to help me figure things out. And again, most of them had me looking outside of myself for the answers. And the more that I did that, the more I just went down the wrong path. And that's when I had the biggest breakthrough of them all. The sudden understanding that the reason I'd been struggling to build my business was that I had overlooked something really big. Something that was missing from my business, and that something was me. So it was time to get real with myself and go back to the beginning. And this time, rather than starting with somebody else's idea of what business I should start, instead, I realized that I should start with what really matters, me. You might agree that even if you pursue the best, the most profitable business idea in the world, you will eventually fail for some reason if it's not the right business for you. So I went back to the drawing board and I thought about what I really wanted. And for a year, I thought deeply about my own weaknesses and my superpowers. What was I the best at? I thought about what people really needed and how I could help them in a way that made sense and felt good for me and for them. I didn't have anyone else's path to follow since I knew all of the answers I needed were inside of me. Now, it wasn't easy to find them, I'll admit, but at the end of that year, I ended up with a crystal clear picture, not of the business I could build, but of the business I was here to build. And once I did that, it was amazing how quickly things began to fall into place and feel good. I felt the confidence and clarity that I needed to get clients and could finally take real action towards building my business. Because before, I felt like I was wasting my time taking action because I didn't know what business I was trying to build. And now I was in my zone. I was helping people, and I was excited to get up and work on my business every day. And instead of feeling wrung out at the end of the day, I felt enthusiastic. I felt charged and ready for the next day. Now, I'm proud to say that our business is more than I ever dreamed it would be, doubling and tripling in size every single year, serving tens of thousands, and fulfilling my personal needs at the same time, so that my tanks are always full. And here's the really exciting part of all this. While creating this process for myself, I realized that it would work for other people too. Because it's not about telling you what to think or what to do. It's a collection of tools and questions that you can use on yourself to pull out the answers that you already have inside you. So right now, before we go any further, I'd like to teach you the first 2 of the many tools that I'm going to share with you during this free training series. And these first 2 tools are perfect for you right now at this exact point in your journey. The first tool, it's called the Get Started choice, and it's designed to get you into action even before you've got everything figured out. So I find that most people, they're in one of 3 camps. You don't have a specific idea for a business, but you know you want to start one. Or you've got an idea for the business you want to start, but you don't know if it's the right one, or maybe you have too many ideas and you don't know how to choose the right one. Whatever camp you're in, many people will put off actually taking action to build their business because they don't feel like they've got enough clarity, the right plan, or the perfect idea. Now, there can also be a lot of fear attached to taking action. What if I try and fail? That's a common one. And I've been there, so I don't blame you if you feel this way too. But ironically, it's the inaction itself that actually creates even more fear of taking action because you never have the chance to get real clarity on whether it would actually work. And that creates even more fear. It's this vicious cycle, and it can last a lifetime because an object at rest tends to remain at rest. The principle behind the Get Started choice is that any action you take, even if it's a really small one, gets you into motion, and it's based on actual science. Now, I'm not a science major, remember, artist here? But thinking back, you might remember learning this phrase in school, that an object at rest tends to remain at rest. And the flip side, which is an object in motion, tends to remain in motion. And that's you. And the Get Started choice is your way to get into motion around your business quickly and easily, without overanalyzing and with very low stakes. At this stage, literally any choice is the right choice. And in the coming days, I'll be presenting a webinar on exactly how to make that choice in an informed way, so you can feel confident moving forward. That webinar is called Your Profitable Niche Checklist: 7 things that you must have to identify your most profitable and fulfilling dream business. So definitely watch your inbox for an invite. Pop quiz. What happens to objects or entrepreneurs in motion? Yep, they tend to remain in motion. And here's where our second tool kicks in. And tool number 2 is the Iterate Your Way to Awesome cycle. And the easiest way to explain what this tool is and how to use it will be to take you back in time to 1879. So world famous inventor Thomas Edison had just invented the modern electric light bulb. But it took him more than 10,000 tries to get this electric filament and its vacuum environment just right, so that it would burn bright and burn long. Now, the most interesting part of the story is this. So when Edison was asked by a reporter how he felt about racking up more than 10,000 failures during his time, he famously told this reporter, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I have not failed once. I have succeeded in proving that those 10,000 ways will not work. And when I have eliminated the ways that will not work, I will find the way that will work." Edison learned early on that you'll never hit on it right out of the gate. That's virtually impossible. But when you take action on an idea, even if it's not quote unquote the perfect action, here's what happens. You get clarity on what's working, what's not working, and what you can change to make it start working. And that gives you all of this momentum, which makes it easier for you to take another action, which starts this process all over again. And with each action giving you more information, more confidence, more momentum, and better results, creating this cycle where one good thing builds on the last until you iterate your way to awesome. And that's the critical importance of the iterating your way to awesome cycle. Now, without this iteration part, your business can't evolve into what it needs to be in order to succeed. So by pairing these two simple tools together, the Get Started choice and the Iterate Your Way to Awesome cycle, you'll have a powerful 1-2 punch that's going to get you into more and more action. And I've helped thousands of students take more action more quickly than they ever thought possible. In fact, I've seen people accomplish more in a few weeks than they have in years with this simple pairing of just these two easy tools. Now, what if you have no idea what your Get It Started choice should be? Don't worry, you're not alone. In fact, you may be surprised to learn that I get a lot of people who say, Marisa, I want to take the next step, but I'm not sure what to choose. They either say, I've got so many ideas, skills, and talents, how do I know what the right choice is? Or maybe they say something like I did, which is, I've got no idea what people would actually pay me for. I literally had no ideas when I first got started, and I'm this idea person. And even though I wanted to start a business, I was drawing this absolute blank on what business I should start. And if that's you, then right below this video, you'll find a link to download my free checklist, 101 unconventional and lucrative ways to do what you love for a living. And in it, you'll find ideas for everything from being a professional hugger, which kind of sounds fun to me, to actually running a wedding cake decoration company. So I'm giving it to you not necessarily because I think that your future company is listed inside, but it's a creativity tool to help you spark lots of new ideas about your business. So whatever you come up with, I want to take a moment right now to reiterate as strong as I possibly can. Don't get married to your first idea. Truly great ideas by nature, they take time. They evolve and they change. They don't arrive with this lightning bolt and a parting of the clouds. And what you think might be your business today, it's probably gonna change and get better. So waiting to get it perfect is really just an excuse to not take any action, and that can result in never living up to your full potential. That's not to say that all ideas are created equal though. Bad ideas are bad ideas, no matter how much you want them to work. And that's why in a few days, I'll be giving you my profitable niche checklist, my secret process to help you know if an idea will be profitable and viable. So stay tuned for that. For today though, the first step I want you to take is simply to imagine the potential your future holds and to admit to yourself that you actually are an entrepreneur. Because until you take that first step, you'll probably never take any of the ones that follow. It's easy. All you gotta do is to repeat after me. I, then say your name, am an entrepreneur and I love it. All right, come on, not so hard. But I want you to say it out loud along with me in 1, 2, 3. I, Marisa Murgatroyd, am an entrepreneur and I love it. Whew. You've done it. You have your costume on and you've stepped out of the phone booth. You've sent a signal to your subconscious to fire up your superpowers because they'll be needed soon. And now that you've taken that first small step, that initial tiny little action, it's time to go on to the second, to start working on your ideal business idea. Are you ready to make one small Get Started choice today? All right, it's easy. Just share your Get Started choice or idea in the comment section below this video. And it's okay if it feels completely unrealistic. And it's okay if you've got no idea how to get started. That's what I'm here to help with. So go ahead, leave a comment below with your best ideas and watch your email for the masterclass announcement. I look forward to seeing your great ideas and to helping you grow your business.